Let us make one last connection that seems to be going unnoticed. But before we touch on that, let us talk about a magical spell. A spell that can only be completed by the death of a loved one, whilst discovering the truth about the said loved one before they pass. This magic is called Esra magic, the one who destroys the worshippers of the ancient gods. The first gods of the multiverse, that is the underverse, our universe, and the omniverse. The ancient ones have a history as well. They pulled themselves from the smoke, that is the underverse and the universe, by sheer will. Or you can call it chance, think luck. It is to them that all forms of creation return, not for judgment, but merely to return to dust, or think smoke, or better yet, think static. The will of both creation and destruction is within the power of the ancient ones. They are worshipped for no reason. Imagine roaches worshipping a human. Even if they are crawling all over you, simply to express their love and gratitude, you would kill the roaches without thought. This is why, from the ancient ones, lesser gods were given dominion over various parts of the universe, the underverse, and even the omniverse, to regulate this balance of creation and destruction. To complete this spell, the Esra magic must destroy the link that connects those who are slaves to the ancient ones. By denying the return of power from our plane back to the ancient ones, we flourish life and prosperity here, where we are now, to the benefit of those who have done the spell correctly. It has been long known the psychedelic visions people have while under the influence of drugs, out-of-body experiences, visions of the past and future as they relate to our concept of time. But only gods have these powers and use them freely to the full extent of their attributes. As flesh and bone only, man, nor its variants, can embrace these attributes, and they only possess them temporarily. This has been known for millions of years of human history. Do not question my usage of millions with human history, or this essay will be irrelevant to its self-purpose. But it is only now that we are able to create drugs so strong that pure energy from the underverse, think hell and fire, but it is not like that. It is pure energy, like the sun, could be used in the universe. This is the true definition of the multiverse. There is no such thing as multiple realities. That is, various different versions of the same reality. This simply would be unnecessary to the energy required for electrons to travel back and forth through what most people call time. Please watch the movie Mind Walk and re-watch this video to understand that factual concept. To understand the concept of being two places at once has taken almost a life age of life ages to understand. But trust, my visionaries, if you keep practicing your Common Core mathematics, you will understand. We know in basic speech that we can be two places or more at once now that we have real-time technology. We have not created this technology earlier in our life age because we did not know the benefits of it and lacked the overall desire for it in general. Now, a person in a wheelchair can be at a concert halfway around the world, video chat, FaceTime, watching live streams. We can re-watch events that happened in the past and experience the same emotions as if we were right there in the video physically, therefore connecting to it emotionally. To those who manipulate and play with these sensations to gain money or fame, I warn you, do not meddle with life force too much like that. It will cause much harm to your body and DNA severely. Now that we know that, let us examine the exotic topic of dark thunder, or what I prefer to call anti-thunder, and the large clouds of positrons that are created within a storm. Positrons, or antimatter in general, is not supposed to exist in our universe on large levels. Life essence creates balance on both sides in order to maintain similitude. The number of living things on our side coincides with all life essence that is returned to the source and life essence that is needed to maintain the underverse. This is a number. It is a very small number. Only about 144,000 life essences of the purest form are needed on all three planes at any given time. And like an equation that isn't balanced, some nerd will come and balance the equation no matter what physical, mental, or spiritual plane they are on. In our foolish curiosity, we have decided to collect this antimatter in order to observe and study it. One easy way is to travel into a thunderstorm and collect positronic clouds that, instead of annihilating and creating gorgeous gamma ray glows, remain tangent in our plane, to take the very life essence from the non-living or dead thing either back to the source or back to the underverse. This lasts only moments. In order to gain more antimatter on this plane, we have artificially messed with the weather. Beware the artificial miracle. It will consume us all. This is why weather events are getting more and more violent. Animals are acting silly and human-like, and other living beings are attempting to come to our side of the galaxy for observation. We could have seen many wonders of our entire universe and never had needed to concentrate antimatter here on this plane. This is what getting high on psychedelic trips is meant to do. This is why the ancient ones gave humans the very desire to burn smoke and consume burning smoke in the first place. Remember, think static. Have you ever seen a deer roll up a cigarette? Or a shark do a line of cocaine? They, let us call them aliens, destroyed their world millions of years ago, and by creating us they tried to mend their error in playing with massive amounts of antimatter in our universe. They tried to repair their sin, but they know exactly what they do, so curse them, break their hands apart. Since we have chosen to forget our own history, we are making the same mistakes that they, let's call them aliens, made. They have not corrected their sin because instead of creating life for the reason of balance and leaving, they created life and decided to observe its growth. Observe us make the same mistakes that they made. Yes, scientists. By slipping through the underverse, you can travel very far distances in our galaxy. Lo, you can travel very far distances within our entire universe, but you will risk the entire population for just a few to see the universe's full beauty, true full beauty. Again, we could have seen many wonders in our entire universe and never have needed to concentrate antimatter here on this plane. From alcohol to diamonds, from various life forms and their evolutions, herbs and flavorings to eat and smoke, all of this has been collected throughout the entire universe and concentrated here, for us, by our creators. But like our creators, we want the very power to control the omniverse, what some call heaven, which will never happen. They are thinking like the aliens. They are thinking like the aliens have thought. If we feed the flames of hell, might we see the very smoke of the gods themselves? From sheer will, the ancient ones were formed from smoke, from static, a self-evident intelligence that is both alive and dead, and more. A beautiful dance of eloquence and fury, and more. Of both lust and death, and reverence for life essence, and more. Even when we become aliens for other beings, thousands of years into our own future, please remember this. We will never achieve the power to become the ancient ones themselves and live on their plane. Stop looking for that power, or we will all remain here. Our life essences will never return to the source. The underverse shall consume us and turn us into the very antimatter in which we study. In their folly of amplifying the weather, they have discovered that bloodshed is the key to attain the knowledge of the ancient ones. Of the inner workings of the beehive, it's called. And once you see the inner workings of the beehive, you cannot leave. Once you understand the way the system works, there will be no desire to turn back, no desire to create life. They have discovered that if the mind dies in a state of, well, there is no human word for this. This is why I created the Limerick language, and thus created the purest language. Please see the video, Mandela Effect, the video I might die for. It's a reference in there to what I just said. Let us describe this word as self-knowing destruction, but not being here presently in conscious mind and spirit, but being here physically to cause both oneself and others who are connected to you by love and observing or watching you stress and pain. This phrase is called Hal Ailkum. I know it pains the ear to hear it spoken. Let us simplify this expression by using an example. Watching a loved one use heroin for many years, watching them lose friends and family, wealth and happiness, and then dying. The scientists have discovered that if the mind dies in this state, that dark energy is not only amplified, but it allows the manipulator of that energy to slip back and forth through intangible space. What you people call time. Yes, time travel. By manipulating intangible space, what you people call time, we can create the means to educate our human race faster, create better technology, and travel to different parts of the underverse in a shorter amount of time than we would have even ever thought of before. But as I said, there is a price. The human life essence is not easily willing to die in Halelkum. Remember the movie Mind Walk and how electrons can slip back and forth through time. But once you understand that time really doesn't exist the way we think, you will see how lazy the universe really is. Why history always repeats itself. Why humans have the same types of memories. And why we know, even if on a small scale, the same knowledge of the ancient ones. For the ancient ones know that even the slightest variation or change in the past can impact everything just a few moments later. Alter them to their will. This is why the universe is so lazy. Everything on our plane can be seen as a pattern. It is because the same electrons reoccur everywhere. They simply and truly can be two places at one time, both here and in history, both across the galaxy and on Earth, both within you and within another. If you want to change reality, you need the machines that the electrons drive in. You need the positrons. But not only that, you need the presence of far more exotic particles than just antimatter. You need muons, mesions of the lightest weight, called pions, and both up and down antiquarks, and more. These particles can only be contained within our universe through circular movement. Do not let the dancer's movements touch your eye, for that is the only way they can bring energy from the underverse and omniverse here, and contain it here. The only way you can generate these particles is through Halelakum. The trauma of this type of death and emotion has been observed by photograph when a person dies, especially when they die in the presence of loved ones, through drugs. They have invented a drug so powerful that it has given enough deaths to them through Halelakum, generating these particles on a large scale. Then they have discovered that they need even more. Even more blood must be shed through various forms of fear and pain in order to generate these exotic particles. 1,000 or more forms of this pain, trauma, and fear, to put a number around it. They have also learned that by planting seeds within humans, or let's say, that by creating drugs so strong that even smelling the drugs in the air will have an everlasting effect on the life essence that is going to die, i.e. return to the source. That by putting these drugs into the water, every life form on our planet will die and generate such exotic particles for them, no matter what type of death they suffer. Do you know anyone with any shoulder pain, unexplained leg pain, pain in their spine, or should I say, kundalini? Even as I look up the proper spelling for the word kundalini, the internet itself would like to know my location. Information itself falls into a black hole on the internet for a reason. Look it up. Isn't it beautiful? They have decided to do this to all of mankind. Smoking the synthetic marijuana has brought into our universe elements which should only be thought about in the notes of the insane, in the mouths of the shamans. Knowledge that only the prophets of the age should know in their madness. In the book of the stranger. Wisdom that only the witches should play with. But the light workers of the world have failed us. They have left us to defend for ourselves. The dark workers have forgotten their roles. They sold their very life essence to the devourer of essences. The very scientists have left their purpose of being logical in order to study the illogical and understand it. Why do they want to understand the illogical? Damn fools. Everyone should play their role. Now to create balance, all verses are swelling with anger now, swelling like a woman's tender pussy as it anticipates a most amped breeder in its presence. Since everyone has mixed roles, I have been brought into existence, when I have no place here at all, no desire to be here at all. The very scientists of today have decided to play with magicians of the past in order to create the gods of the future, the legends of tomorrow. They have decided to abandon the drugs that the universe itself has provided for them naturally, in order to obtain unnatural power that can span across all planes. It all began with the mending of realities. 2010. Creating a new universe within a universe that has not yet expired. The ancient ones know this. The ancient ones have observed the rise and fall of universes for octodecillions of life ages. Enough life ages to make the human mind experience deja vu and convince itself that there are multiple realities. Enough life ages to predict the winning lottery number every day for the rest of one's own life age. Enough life ages to make a God decision and destroy a generation of humans in order to maintain balance of the entire race. This is why it is said that there are too many people on earth, for we now feel the octodecillions of life ages repeating themselves within our minds and in our dreams over and over again with slight variations. And now we want more. We want to see the entire universe with our own eyes, and we are willing to sacrifice our own human race to achieve such a thing. Sacrifice the very aliens that created and recreated us in order to become masters of our own creations. But there is only one master. He is the boundary that separates us from the very ancient ones themselves and destroys all who feed that energy through ashram magic. We have awakened. By no fault of our own. They have unlocked power that allows them to see glimpses of the unnatural means in which the ancient ones keep the universe in order, and the underverse feeding all of us everlasting energy. They have placed a curse over the entire world through manipulation of natural drugs, and every life form has had a taste of it either by smoking it, breathing it in the air, or drinking it in the water. There will be no purification. Observe the statue of Shiva at CERN. Understand that circular movement and see his video the greatest. Watch the beautiful ceremony of the tunnel opening in Switzerland, for I have not summoned a demon onto this earth. I have not laid down a possession jinx onto any troubled human life. I have not conjured up any spirits from the underverse to roam once again in the land of the living. I have recreated an ancient one from static and smoke, and placed that ancient one within the very life essence of me, within my very own soul. Behold, he rides in your presence. A pale horse amidst you.